Alright guys, let's go ahead and do this. Paul Wynn here from J Concepts, and Damon Berkowitz, one of our drivers from South Florida.
That's me.
Yep. We're here to talk about some of the body progress, so from the vintage cars all the way up to the current cars that we race now. And, you know, likes, dislikes, where we see things going. So kind of where things started for us was the RC10 days, obviously, 1985, the car came out. So they tried to just make them look like buggies. I mean, there was really no rhyme or reason other than just trying to make them look cool, look, you know, like a real car. And we had the cab back, I guess you could call it, bodies. So just in the last year or two, Jason, big fan of the vintage stuff, decided to recreate some of the old school bodies, and he came out with the detonator body for the RC10 Classic. Pretty big hit. Guys were loving it right away. And then once, you know, that came out, Associated released the World's car, and the hot body for the World's car was the Turbo Mirage from RCPS. And so we kind of did the Detonator 2, which, oh, by the way,
I named that body.
Damon,
it was total accident, but I named that body.
Damon, yeah, he named the first body, and then we came out with the Detonator World's body. They started to back, you know, when this body came out, they put some kick up for more downforce. The cabs got a little wider, the cars got a little wider, longer A-arms. So, you know, that's when racing started to kind of get a little more serious, and they were trying to tune with wings, bodies, but not to the extent we are now. What do you think of the look of these bodies?
They're different.
They're different? I guess that's a nice way of putting it.
They're different.
You know, we didn't know any better. We were coming from Tamiya Hornets and Frogs and stuff like that, where, you know, the bodies were roll cages, and you know, you couldn't even really take the bodies on and off hardly on those things. So
were they even?
Go ahead.
Were they even Lexan back then?
They were plastic and Lexan. They were first plastic, and then they moved on to Lexan. So that's kind of where it started with those things. The kind of the next evolution was the B2, B3s. We weren't, you know, obviously J Concepts wasn't around yet doing bodies for those, so, you know, you just ran the kit body. There was no more RCPS, so you just kind of ran the kit body and went with it. Then in 2003 they had the Worlds and Minrig, and Jason was doing some bodies for J Concepts for his own personal car, and that's this one here, which he actually ran at the Worlds and Minrig in 2003. That was the B4. Associated won that race with Bill Easton running the car, and it was also the introduction of the BJ4, which last week they talked about. Then in later that year, Jason came out with a high flow body, which Damon has over here.
Right here.
So that was done after Minrig. They ran that one in, I think, Japan. 2005 was when that body debuted.
I thought 05 was Italy.
Was it Italy? Okay.
Yeah, because that's when
That's
Pudge
right.
won.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're right. I came into J Concepts 2007, end of 2006, 2007, and this was one of my first bodies that I did kind of from the ground up. This was the finisher style body, which became super popular, you know, more aggressive. It was kind of our first cab forward design. Cars, you know, traction was getting higher. Cars were starting to need more downforce in the front, need more steering. They actually started going to longer chassis, so you know, we got to keep the front end down and give the car, you know, crazy amounts of steering.
Personal favorite, by the way, is the finisher body. That was one of my favorites. I was super hyped when that body came out.
This is probably around the time you started racing serious, I would guess, right?
Yeah, that because I started racing probably I think when that car about came out. I think so. I'm not too sure on the dates. Somewhere 07 to 10ish, so maybe 08. Cut it in the middle.
I think the first time I saw you race, you were running an XTM bug.
Hey, I may have been running an XTM, but when I actually started coming to the J Concept Super Cup Series, I was rocking a B4.2 and an SC10.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was obviously one of my personal favorites as well as the finisher. That was my first kind of ground up body. Then from there, the B5 came out. So, you know, we kind of wanted to go a new direction, and we went with the silencer style body, which again, we still kept the cab forward design, giving the car a lot of steering, but we kind of gave it a little more flow in the back, kind of some aggressive scoops here to give it more downforce as well, try to balance the car out a little more. And again, that was another body I did from the ground up. That was, you know, a lot of fun. Didn't really base it off anything. Just kind of went for it, and you know, it was pretty unique, a lot different. But it was actually hard to get people to get away from the finisher style. Guys were still loving the finisher, so we actually went ahead and did a finisher for the B5 vehicles as well.
Do we have a finisher body in here?
I don't know. What did you think of the silencer? You ran it for a little while compared to the finisher.
I thought it was cool. It was at I ran it at the Cactus Classic. It was my first one and the last one outdoors. I forget the year. But yeah, I had a picture of like my car was in the air and it had the silencer body on it. It was awesome. I loved it.
Cool.
And it also, you guys started doing the fin.
Yeah, doing the fin. You know, again, trying to get a little bit of high speed stability in the vehicle. You know, I don't know if it works or not, but looks cool and sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we came out with the S2 body, which is the silencer 2, and you can see that on the Mayfield replica here on the Losi 3.0. We also did it for the B5, the B6, the Losi 3.0. We even have it for the X-Ray X2, I believe it is, 2017 now.
I can't keep up.
Yeah, I can't keep up either, but so they like to upgrade their cars.
Yeah.
So staying with the cab forward stuff. So again, traction's just insane. Now we're running on carpet, you know, AstroTurf, Blue Groove, glued surfaces, and
Rubber.
Yeah, rubber tracks now.
Yeah.
So, and you know, the aerodynamics are starting to play a factor in that. You know, we're having more aggressive wings, front wings, rear wings, gurneys, the bodies with scoops, and it's getting pretty nuts. So.
And a whole lot of motor.
Lots of motor. Yeah. What do you think of the newest S2 style bodies?
It's honestly hands down favorite body. We have that over there. That's Paul Wynn's.
So this is my personal car, and obviously Damon's favorite body.
Yeah, so this is actually the car he just raced at Beachline here. Yeah, I run this body on my car as well. Feels super awesome. Looks amazing going around the track. Always looks good in the photos. And also a big difference from the B5 style bodies to the B6 is what I've noticed is the whole body seems to be a lot more low profile. You can notice here with like the B5, the top of the body kind of came over the shock tower, and you can kind of see on the B6 it's pretty level with it as well. So yeah.
So yeah, we just got a turf track in Florida Beachline Raceway and Superior Hobbies, and we raced it for the first time last week, and it took a little while for the carpet to break in, and once the carpet broke in, it was just awesome. So much fun. We went, actually Damon and Jason went out testing there on Monday, did some spec tire testing for the Super Cup, and then Damon and I both went out there last night for a club race, and the track's just super fun. Cars are clean. everyone was just having a great time. So yeah, we really liked it, and it's always nice too. You just blow your car off and away you go.
And no rust.
Yeah, no rust.
In Florida,
So,
that's a blessing.
Let's see if they got any questions.
All right, we got any questions here? I think T-Train's been doing good answering them over there. Alex K was wondering if I was even old enough to talk about vintage body/cars. The answer is no. I wasn't even alive when these cars were thought of.
You did watch the Gene Hustings RC10 videos though, so you have seen the cars race before.
I have seen the cars. Those are actually a personal favorite of mine. Jason Rona actually has, I think, probably close to all of those videos.
Yeah, he has the whole set.
Yeah, those were always cool. If you ever get the chance, check them out. They were pretty cool. Gene Hustings would go around at the races, kind of do fun little interviews with all the drivers, and always videotape the whole race, and it was cool to see, how all the old school stuff was, see how the worlds used to go, and yeah. All right, anything else?
Looks like somebody actually picked out a few prototype parts that were on Jason's car. Yeah, we did a front shock tower for the B4.2 that Jason was messing around with, and it was really cool. But the cars progressed so fast, and that's when we moved on to the B5. So we really didn't have a chance to do a whole lot with it. So everything, this has the graphite steering rack and stuff, and it was out for a little while, and then the B5 came out, and that kind of changed everything. Bunch of trolls in here.
Not going to mention any names, Kirby.
Yeah, we actually did have the S2 bodies for the Yokomo car too. No special stash. We're not trying to hide anything there. All right, I think we're pretty good. Do you see any other questions?
Did we miss any T-Train?
T-Train?
There's a question about what can you look forward to? What kind of designs are coming out in 2017?
Good ones.
That's a good.
Paul would be the guy like Daimon.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of, it goes back to with the cars progressing so quickly, and the higher traction tracks and the aero packages. So I think we've had probably the most requested body we've had end of 2016 was the finisher style 2.0, I guess. So we do have F2 body coming out. It's going to debut at the Reedy race, and kind of look for that on some of the drivers. Spencer, Daimon will probably try it out. Cavalieri. So it's going to be quite a few guys running that body, and I'm sure with it being so close to the race, I don't know if they'll settle on it that quickly. But yeah, we definitely have the F2 body coming out, and I think people are going to really like it. It's pretty aggressive. It's a lot different. Has the signature step down V pattern in the back, but has a lot of cool new features and scoops, and I think it's going to have a good success, good launch.
Another question that was by Chili Duncan wants to know if there's a new short bus body in the works.
Short course, unfortunately, is, it got a lot of people into the hobby, a lot of new people, and we had a blast with it, and but it's kind of been on a downward spiral and not doing all that great. We would really like to do some stuff with that, but it's really hard to find time to do short course bodies when, the two-wheel segment is going so well and so strong that we just got to keep pumping out the two-wheel stuff, and now we're doing monster truck bodies, which has just been a huge hit. People are loving the monster truck style bodies, scalar bodies. So it's it's something that we have on the list, but we just haven't got to do it yet.
Next question was Billy Magaha asks if there's going to be a regular cab bodies coming out soon, so maybe a shift from cab 4 to maybe mid cab.
It's I think the shape of the bodies, the cabs have been getting longer, so they don't look so cab forward, so it kind of has more of that mid-cab look. I actually prefer the look of that as well. I wasn't never a huge fan of the full cab forward, but it definitely gave the car a little more steering, a little more stability. So we kind of lengthened the cab out a little bit, and I think it gave it a much better balance. But I don't see the cabs going back to where they were. I think maybe Nitro 8 scale, you probably will see a trend of the cabs kind of going back to the way they were 5 or 6 years ago, where the cab's still forward, but it's a little longer, slopey, has some kick-ups in the back for more downforce. But I don't see 10 scale going back to this. You know, every time we come out with a new body, I just look back at the old bodies and I'm like, man, it was cool, but the new stuff is so much cooler.
It is.
So I don't see us going back to that.
This is kind of a little bit off topic, but I just want to give a shout out to these Rulux wheels right here. I remember running those.
Damon definitely was liking the Rulux wheels.
I ran them on everything.
That's
Even
certainly vintage as well.
Yeah.
See, you're part of vintage. There you go.
I don't know about vintage, but
Modern vintage.
Modern vintage. There we go.
Next question by Derek Stephenson, longtime TLR guy. He's asking if there's
He's a new J Concept
yeah,
member
and
too
a J
now.
Concept
What's up, Derek?
member now. So he's asking if there's going to be an F2 for the TLR.
Yeah, we plan on doing the F2 body for all the vehicles. You know, we're gonna, the first one will be the Associated V6, the X-Ray X2 2017,
XBG.
or XB2. There we go. The Yokomo YZ2.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're gonna have F2 for all the popular makes and models. Yep.
Also a question from Kirby. Paul, do you do a majority of the body designs, or who's that done by?
Yeah, I mean, it's, we have a team here. Sometimes Jason will just sketch something up on a napkin. We'll kind of work off of that, which some of the coolest ideas have come from there.
I've seen him do it on a plane.
Yeah. Got nothing else to do?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a baller, though. He always gets
yeah.
the Wi-Fi on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I do, I would say probably 70% of the bodies by myself, and then we have a couple of guys that have some input and do certain things. Some of the bodies are even being done in the computer now, which is really tough for us, because in order to design a body in the computer, you have to have the car in the computer. You can't just draw a cool looking body on the computer and then have it fit the car. So that's something that we've kind of been playing with a little bit, is doing some bodies in the computer, as well as me kind of hand fitting it once we do finish it in the computer. Then I'll kind of make it fit the car a little bit better, or add a little few things here and there. So there, that's that.
Probably the last question is about stadium truck bodies for 2017. What's in the works?
It's we're Jason and I are huge fans of stadium truck. I mean, going back to the vintage thing, I had some of my best success in racing in stadium truck, as well as Jason, and we both really like it. So we're really hoping that the stadium truck class would take off, and it slowly has gained some popularity again. The trucks are super easy to drive, they're forgiving, they have tons of traction. So we just released a body actually late last year, the high flow body for the T5, and it was super cool, kind of retro. We actually have one back here. I don't know if you can see it over here, but that was kind of a body we did that we based it off one of our original bodies, the 005 body, and guys were really digging it. But until the class really takes off and becomes more of a premier class, I think you'll see one or two a year, but not at the rate the buggy stuff. So,
is that anybody's paint job?
That is not. But everyone that has seen it has actually wanted to claim it for themselves. That's something that Jason and Dark Side Designs kind of came up with. And I think we've all tried to steal that paint job at some point. Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, we didn't have the Warrior body in here.
The Warrior?
Yeah.
Oh, where's that at?
Right there, the blue one.
Oh, look at this thing. I'll just set that right here.
Yeah, this is a body that we kind of worked on. This was something that Jason did when he was kind of a fan of the new Mad Max movie that came out 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm. That was a good movie.
and or late 2015, I think. In 2016, we actually kind of showed this off at the Reedy race as it was one of our projects that Jason drew a bunch of parts and 3D printed, and this body was actually, a lot of people liked the way it handled. This was the race version of it, and I actually ran this body quite a bit outdoors, and it did seem to produce a lot of traction. It was very neutral, front to rear, and so who knows? Maybe we can do a B6 version of this.
Cool.
All right, guys. I don't know. I think it's about time for us to get back to work.
I got a car to build.
Yeah, we've had some fun. I got some more bodies to do for the Reedy race. So, signing out.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm.